Let's talk about that sad excuse for a website you've been neglecting. You know, the one that's bringing in about as many leads as a power outage. I'm Leonard Parker, founder of Destiny Marketing Solutions, and today I'm going to show you how to stop wasting your internet real estate and transform your website from a digital paperweight into a 24/7 sales machine. Stick with me because at the end of this video, I'll share my number one trust building hack that 90% of electrical businesses completely miss, yet takes less than 10 minutes to implement and can instantly boost your conversion rates. Most electrician websites are about as effective as trying to fix a circuit breaker with a plastic spoon. They're static, outdated, and honestly, they're not doing anything but taking up space on the internet. Here's the reality. If your website isn't actively building trust or generating leads, it's not working. It's just an expensive digital business card. Today's customers expect immediate answers, crystal clear service descriptions, and proof that you know what you're doing. They'll make a judgment about your electrical expertise in about 5 seconds flat based on your website. And let's be real, if your site looks like it was built in 2009, customers are going to assume your electrical knowledge stopped updating then too. The hard truth is that mobile-first, fast-loading sites convert at nearly 3 times the rate of those clunky, outdated ones. And while your competitors are figuring this out, you're leaving money on the table every single day. Your website shouldn't just be a place to showcase your logo. It should be working harder than your most ambitious apprentice, every single day around the clock. Here's mistake number one that I see with almost every electrician company website. Vague, meaningless phrases like full service electrical contractor or quality electrical work. What does that even mean? When someone's panel is sparking at 10 o'clock at night, they're not searching for quality electrical work near me. They're frantically typing emergency panel in your city into Google. You need to list every key service you offer. Panel upgrades, EV charger installations, lighting installations, emergency repairs, commercial wiring, whatever it is you actually do, spell it out. And I don't just mean a bullet list. Create individual service pages for each offering with detailed photos and FAQs. This isn't just good for potential customers, search engines eat this stuff up. If you serve both residential and commercial clients, your language needs to reflect that. The homeowner with flickering lights has different concerns than the factory manager with power distribution issues. And here's where most electricians completely miss the boat. Location-specific terms. Add your city or service area to your services pages. Panel upgrades in Houston is infinitely more valuable than just panel upgrades if you're based in Houston. Specificity sells. The vaguer you are, the less likely anyone is to pick up the phone. Let's talk about trust for a second. You wouldn't believe a homeowner who told you they had electrical experience but couldn't show you a single project they worked on. So why would you expect customers to believe your claims without evidence? Real project photos build trust exponentially faster than those cringy stock photos of models in hard hats pointing at electrical panels. You know the ones I'm talking about, where the model is holding a screwdriver completely wrong. Before and after shots are gold, especially if you're labeled them with the type of work: 200 amp panel upgrade, knob and tube replacement, EV charger installation. It tells a story that potential customers can relate to. If possible, add a simple video walkthrough of a completed job. 30 seconds of you explaining what challenges you face and how you solve them is worth more than 2,000 words on your website. Place client testimonials directly next to each service. When someone says, ABC Electric saved us from a dangerous situation with our old panel, and you place that right next to your panel upgrade service, you've just created an emotional connection. For commercial projects, especially, case studies showing scope and results tell a compelling story. Reduce this factory's downtime by 85% with our emergency generator installation speaks volumes. Remember, people don't trust claims, they trust proof. Make your work visible and verifiable. Let's talk about the moment of truth. When someone's interested, but needs a little push to actually contact you. Use clear, visible calls to action that tell people exactly what to do next. Forget generic submit buttons. Instead, use action phrases like get your free estimate, schedule your service call, or book your EV charger consultation. Offer something of actual value. Maybe it's a free electrical safety inspection, a backup power audit for hurricane season, or even just a straightforward checklist for 10 warning signs your panel needs upgrading. For mobile users, which is about 70% of your traffic, whether you know it or not, a simple click to call button is absolutely essential. When someone's dealing with an electrical emergency, they don't want to fill out a form and wait for you to call them back. Use scheduling tools that eliminate the back and forth. Let clients book directly into your calendar for estimates or non-emergency services. And for heaven's sake, test your contact forms regularly. You'll be shocked, pun intended, how many electricians are losing leads because their form is broken and they don't even know it. I'll share a story here. Someone that we worked with last year in 2024, they had spent upwards of $80,000 on their Google Ads campaign. And yep, you probably know where this is going. They were wondering why weren't they getting any leads? Why wasn't the ad investment carrying over to more leads and more prospective projects? And we get to their website, and within the first hour of our website audit, we realized that their contact us form is going nowhere. The email that it was synced to was no longer active. So they had all of these contacts, prospects in their database, but unfortunately, no one on the team was getting notifications. So obviously, $80,000 is a lot of money. It's a major investment, and that's all going down the drain. But I want you to avoid that type of situation because it was a day of reckoning for them, and their bosses weren't very happy. So make sure that you are staying on top of this with your website contact forms. With those forms, the goal is simple. Remove every possible obstacle between a customer's interests and their ability to reach you. Like, really think about how you can make that as smooth as possible. Make it ridiculously easy to say yes. If you're an electrical service company, local visibility isn't just important, it's everything. When someone searches for an electrician, they're looking for one nearby, not 3 states away. Create individual city or region landing pages with services specific to those areas. If you want to take this to the next step, and if you service multiple cities or towns in a region, you can combine your cities, your target cities, with your provided services or your priority services. And this will give you ultimate optimization for those local-based searches. If you're in smaller towns where maybe the search volume doesn't justify, that step might be overkill. But if you are serving major metro areas, this is a great way to be more competitive. If you serve multiple communities, again, just make sure that you're using unique content. So what I like to do when we're building out city pages, try to incorporate, something about current trends in that area, or maybe a bit of history of that area. And this way, you're not just copy and pasting the same content from city page to city page. Make it a bit unique so that you are providing unique value, unique education to that prospective buyer. Use schema markup on your website. This is code that helps search engines understand your business details. It's what makes those rich results show up in Google with your star rating, services, and contact info. So you've likely seen this if you've ever been looking for a new restaurant or a place to eat, or maybe even a hotel. You'll see those star ratings. That's schema in action. So just make sure that you are using schema, JSON LD schema, because it can be a great way to get additional visibility, and it can future-proof your website with the direction that the search engines are going with AI-powered search. Make sure that you add Google Map embeds showing your location or service area, and include driving directions from major points in your service territory. Throughout your content, naturally incorporate your service area keywords. So don't just stuff Electrician Dallas 50 times on a page. That looks desperate and Google will penalize you. Instead, weave locations naturally into your content. Our licensed electricians serve the entire Dallas metro area, specializing in residential panel upgrades for Dallas homeowners, for example. Make sure you're listed on every relevant directory with consistent information. In our last video, I talked about the importance of NAP consistency, that is name, address, and phone number consistency. So make sure to check that out because this information, this important contact info should be identical everywhere online. Google gets very confused if your phone number is different on Yelp than it is on your website. Local visibility means showing up exactly when and where potential customers are searching for your services. Now, I know this video isn't about SEO, but if you looked at any of the videos on this channel, there's a big focus of our full circuit growth method. So check out some of those videos if you want more details about schema or some of the other tips I just mentioned regarding optimizing your website for local search. Let me ask you something. When you flip a switch, do you expect the light to come on right away, or are you okay waiting 30 seconds? That's how your website visitors feel. They expect your site to load instantly. Mobile speed isn't just a convenience issue, it's a ranking factor with Google and an absolute conversion killer. Studies show that for every second your site takes to load, you lose about 7% of potential conversions. You can use tools like Google Page Speed Insights or GT Metrics to check how your site is performing. Most electricians' websites that we analyze are running at about 40% of their potential speed. And that's like deliberately installing underpowered breakers throughout a house or business. Compress your images without sacrificing quality. That massive 5 megabyte photo of your truck is causing visitors to bounce before they ever see it. So really think, is it necessary to accomplish the goal that you have for your website visitors? Avoid those bloated themes with fancy animations that nobody cares about. Your customers want to find information and contact you. They're not there for a digital light show. And make absolutely certain your site navigation works flawlessly on mobile devices. Buttons should be large enough to tap, menus should be accessible, and phone numbers should be clickable. The equation is simple. If your site is slow or clunky on mobile, you're actively losing leads and money. You wouldn't wire a house without testing the circuits. So why would you run a website without monitoring its performance? Make sure that you install Google Analytics and set up conversion tracking. This tells you not just how many people visit your site, but how many take meaningful actions like calling you or filling out a form. Know exactly where your leads are coming from. Is it Google search, your Facebook page, that local sponsorship you did? This data tells you where to double down on your marketing efforts. Use heat maps to see how visitors actually interact with your pages. They show you exactly where people click, how far they scroll, and where they get stuck. Track call clicks, form submissions, and call to action usage. This data reveals which services generate the most interest and which pages are underperforming. Then use this intelligence to make informed adjustments to your site. Maybe your generator installation page gets lots of traffic but few conversions. That's a clear sign something needs fixing on that page. As the saying goes, what gets measured gets improved. Without tracking, you're just guessing. And for these last two slides, I didn't go into detail. If you want to learn more about GT metrics, page speed insights, heat maps, we actually have a part 1 on this topic, which I'll link to here in the video description. But I want to make sure that you watch that because that's likely a good prerequisite for this video. Now, before we move on, I wanted to share with you some examples of really effective websites out there. And so first I'll start with the Happy Outlet. They are an electrical services company. And you can see, so I'll just refresh here so you can see better. So you see here right away when someone lands on their page, they have this chat. And this is something, it's not a guarantee that's it's going to help with engagement, It's something I do suggest testing out to see if you are able to get people more engaged. Some people find them annoying. I'm actually in that group, but you can't deny the data that overall chat widgets, they do help with engagement and getting in touch, or allowing the prospect to get in touch with someone right away. And the cool thing about these chats, you can sync them up with email, you can sync them up with your, someone's phone number, and you can receive these messages as text and you can respond right away. Site speed is important, but what's probably even more important is your responsiveness to your prospective customers. So I'm going to minimize that here so we can look at what's going on here on the website. So first they start with that really nice, what we call a hero image. The hero image is just the image across the hero area. So sometimes you'll see on electrician websites, they'll use a static image. Other times they'll use a video. So it really depends. This is a common culprit of a slow page speed. So just make sure that you are finding that right mix of image quality or video quality and site performance. And you can see here, electricians who make you smile. And so I like that because it fits their name, Happy Outlet. The serviceman arrived on time with a smile and immediately put me at ease. So they're starting right off the back with a testimonial. So great job for them. And then you see here, they have more testimonials. So before someone even scrolls to learn more about the business, they have testimonials that they're hitting them with right away. And I'm sure there's some research in, they figured out where the common pain points with people who are searching for electrician services. So first they handled the part about the accountability. So person arrived on time, they put them at ease. Here in the second testimonial, they say real-time technician tracking. So they know. So again, it's all about making the customer more comfortable before your team member even shows up. So they had his picture, they had the bio, and they knew what to expect. People like to know what to expect when they are purchasing a service. And then upfront pricing, another big pain point. They want price transparency. So this is something they're addressing right away here at the top of the page before the user scrolls. And then right away, they have a scheduled service option here. And so they're asking for name, phone number, email. And here they have their common services that someone might want to book a call for. And then right away, get happy. So I like it. It may not be as clear, but it's pretty much their way of saying, learn more about our service or get in touch with us. The only thing that I would add here, maybe to get a sense of the urgency or the seriousness of that prospect, is maybe adding something like a requested service date. So you can do something as soon as possible, next week, this weekend, and this will give you an idea of just how serious they are in proceeding to the next step. So you're looking for a way to prioritize your leads. Again, they are using these nice images. I'm a big fan of, back in the day, we used to call these clip art, but it's kind of like these animated images where it really goes really well with the theme of their website. So it's really consistent with their brand. And then if you scroll down even further, they are offering $25 off. And so as you continue to scroll further down, they provide more information. They also show, as I mentioned, one of the best practices, an embedded map with the Happy Outlet. They're based out in the Carson City, Nevada area. And they have more testimonials. And what's even better, they have different testimonials. So it's not the same thing over and over again. Something else here, and this is something I would actually have maybe higher up in a page, like maybe right after those initial testimonials, are their trust badges. So they're showing their average Facebook rating, Google rating, and then some other local recommendations. So it looks like they had a best of Carson City, their city. So that's very good to include there on the home page. In addition to this, they have a meet the team page, a blog page, and then they have the specific services page. So it's not clear just how far they go outside of Carson City. So maybe it's not necessary to have other local pages, but as you can see, they have specific pages for each service. So if we just go to the EV charging station page, for example, one recommendation I would have for them is that to make sure that they are including their target city in their title tags. Again, the title tag is a little box that just popped up here on my screen. This is one of the most important places for your keywords. So you want to make sure that you include the target keyword, which they did, electric car charging station, but also your target city when you are focused on a specific service area. And another thing I would improve with this page, if you have a specific photos or photo gallery of their electric car charging installation projects before and afters, and also a testimonial. I think that is a missing link here, but they did such a great job with testimonials on the homepage. I think I'll give them grace here. But one last thing before I move on to the website, notice this big, impossible to miss click to call button on the right. And you always want to think about how users might be browsing your web page. And studies show that one of the common patterns that they'll use is an F-shaped pattern. That's why usually you'll see the logo is in the top left. So you'll see that logo and then someone will scroll across. And this might even be something that they're not even conscious about, but they'll scroll across and they'll see that click to call button right away. And the goal here is that you want to have the most important things further up in the page. So again, they have the links to all of their website pages, but also a way to call them right away. And it's a very non-friction, there's no friction, just click to call. So that they're doing a great job here. Now moving on to another website, Melcar Electric. They're based out in Albany, New York. So again, they're starting right away with this pop-up, and it offers different ways to engage with their team. So they can text, call, or email. So that's perfect because some people prefer to text. Some people, they don't necessarily want to call. Maybe they're not in a place where they can call, but they want to get the conversation moving. So they're giving them different options. So I'm going to exit out of this. And again, they have a strong hero image. So this honestly looks a little bit stock imagery to me, but they also have, they're coupling that with an image of their service van. So it's a balance, but ideally you will want something that's less stock imagery. And it's very hard to articulate what I mean by stock imagery, but when you've worked on so many websites and done so much with images, it's hard to decipher, but it's just comes off as stock image. But nevertheless, great job. They have the get a quote today. So call to action right there before someone scrolls. And then they're adding some credibility here. So proudly serving the capital region since 1976. So that's roughly 50 years. So they've been in business for 50 years. They must be doing something right. Electrician in Albany, New York. So that's, I'm assuming, one of their primary keywords. Fast and affordable electrical repair, installation and wiring in Latham, Colony, and beyond. So I'm assuming Latham and Colony are suburbs of Albany. Again, stock imagery. So that would probably be one knock I have on their homepage. Then if we scroll further down, more information. So they're clicking to a link about us. About us is a very important page. You know, if someone comes to your website and you've done a decent enough job at articulating why you're the go-to provider, they will look at that about us page to see just what your team is about. So it's really cool. They have a code of ethics that you can read as well. So you understand what they're about, what to expect, as we saw in the previous example. And then important electrical information. So this is really just a value add resource that they're using to educate website visitors. If we scroll further down, here we go. Now we actually see people on their team. So that's obviously not a stock image. And then it's great they have their branding here in the image as well. So you see their primary services, and they are explicitly stating that they are licensed in these different services. And then they have their reviews, and they say our reviews are electrifying. And then they have right here a nice trust badge from Angie Super Service Award for 2024. So very recent, just last year. And I like here that they are calling out specific team member names. Again, that's very powerful because you might get to work with Brock or Gary. So very important that you give your customers guidance, guardrails on how to write the reviews. So try to include the team member's name, try to include what type of service that was rendered, try to include the location and so forth. I think that can, and those two last things, the service type and the type of the location, I think that could make these reviews stronger, but they have them, so that's good. And then we scroll further down, they have some very timely blog posts. And so around the holiday season, or end of holiday season, I should say, they have a post on how to safely install and use holiday lighting. And so this is something that very timely around the holidays. And then they really, the thing about blog posts is that they are a way for you to express or show your expertise. So before someone even calls you, you've already put in their mind, you've built the perception that you are the go-to for that specific issue. But you do have to be strategic in what you're blogging about, right? So you want to make sure that your blogs actually match users' search demand, and also you can tie those blog topics back to specific services that you offer. Scrolling further down, they have FAQs, which is another great addition. So how do I schedule an appointment for electrical services? What areas do you serve in addition to Albany? Are your electricians licensed and trained? So that's very important. And then they have what we call an accordion. So let's say you don't want all of this to take up so much space on the page, you can use an accordion to save space and just make it more user-friendly, especially on mobile. What to expect when you hire us? So again, as we saw with the first example, they are setting expectations. So that's very important. People like to know what to expect because with that expectation, they know you're kind of eliminating that risk of, hey, what if I decide to call these folks, I take off of work or take off work early and they never show up, or it's not quite what I was looking for. So they're pretty much setting the standard for which to evaluate to evaluate them by. So that's very important. So yeah, I'll keep it there. And then they have some other things here like the LGBTQ community flag. So again, can be a great symbolic way of showcasing their values. So scroll to our third and final example, Lighthouse Electrical. So again, they are starting with a very large hero image. They're based in the Boston area. And so hero images are great. The one thing I would always be mindful of, and if you are building or revamping your site, these images can be very large. So you want to find that nice balance between image quality and website performance. You don't want these images to slow down your site too much. So we scroll further down, they jump right into it. So they tell you more about their business. They also have here listed right away a fairly recent award that they won related to safety. And then they're also showcasing some of their recent projects. So it looks like they maybe target more commercial projects in their area. But still, if that's what their user is searching for, then it's great that they are showcasing those right away. I also want to call out, they do have their phone number right here in the top right. So remember that F-shaped pattern that I mentioned? They have their important contact info at the very top. That's the most important. One recommendation is that they made their number clickable, so that if someone is on their mobile phone, they can just click it. They don't have to do that copy and pasting into their phone app. Scrolling further down, we see that they have their key services highlighted here, so they can link to, or the user can link and click over to learn more about those services. One thing that might help them is to add testimonials. I think that would be a great way, something great to complement these different project photos. So there's always, a website is never a perfect product. There's always areas for optimization, for improvement. So hopefully those over the shoulder demos were helpful, but now I'm going to click back over to my content. So at Destiny Marketing Solutions, we don't just build pretty electrician websites. We turn them into 24/7 sales engines that consistently generate leads. Our full circuit growth method connects SEO, paid traffic, conversion design, and remarketing into one seamless system that drives book jobs day after day. We start by addressing the fundamental challenge most electrical businesses face: lack of qualified leads. Then we implement a step-by-step process. First, we ensure you're getting found by the right clients through targeted local SEO and strategic advertising. Next, we optimize your site to convert more of those visitors into actual leads and projects. Then we implement tracking systems so you know exactly what's working and what isn't. All of this combines to create your dream outcome: a predictable, consistent flow of quality leads that keeps your schedule full and your business growing. Your website shouldn't just look good, it should be actively printing money for your business. If you're serious about transforming your website into a lead generating machine, here's where we start with our full circuit growth audit, which gives you an in-depth review of your homepage, service pages, and calls to action. We analyze your local SEO structure and on-page targeting to see how you stack up against competitors. We'll identify conversion blockers on both desktop and mobile versions of your site, those little issues that cause potential customers to leave without contacting you. We check your site speed, user experience, and form performance to ensure every aspect of your digital presence is optimized for conversions. The end result: a custom action plan to turn your website into a lead magnet that consistently brings in high-quality jobs. The truth is, most electricians don't need more website traffic. They need a site that actually converts the traffic they already have. That's the difference between getting visitors and getting customers. Here's the expert tip I promise. Add your license number, years in business, and coverage area in the footer of every page on your site. Then include trust badges like the Better Business Bureau, Home Advisor certification, or manufacturer partnerships prominently. In several of the examples I shared earlier in the video, you saw that they had those different trust badges or awards or review badges that adds credibility. This simple trust building technique lowers friction and bounce rates significantly because it addresses the unspoken questions in your potential customers' minds. Is this company legitimate? Are they qualified? Do they actually serve my area? Most electricians completely overlook this 10-minute fix, even though it's especially powerful for high-dollar jobs like panel replacements, whole home rewiring, or commercial projects. Trust doesn't need to be loud and in your face, but it absolutely needs to be visible. If you're ready to turn your website from a digital brochure into a lead generation powerhouse, book your full circuit growth audit today. The link is in the description below, and stop losing jobs to competitors with better online presence. Stop guessing what might work. Get a custom action plan backed by data and start seeing more booked jobs. This isn't about just having a website, it's about having a website that works as hard as you do. I'm Leonard Parker, helping you power up your marketing one connection at a time. If you found this valuable, hit that subscribe button and share with other electrical pros who need to hear this. Until next time, keep your marketing as tight as your wiring.